Every time you lane split past a pickup truck, the driver calls you an organ donor. But here's what he will never admit. 3 times last month, at 2 a.m., he watched motorcycle POV videos on YouTube. And that contradiction? That's the most interesting thing about human psychology. I'm a psychologist, and I've spent years studying what people do when they want something they're afraid to take. And let me tell you, motorcycle haters are the purest example of this mechanism. It's not about safety. It's not about noise. It's about something buried much deeper. Freud first described this nearly a century ago. He called it reaction formation. It's a defense mechanism where your brain takes an unacceptable desire and flips it into its opposite. You want to ride, but you're terrified? Your brain says, then I'll hate riders instead. Problem solved. Except it's not. We live in a culture that worships safety. Your car beeps when you drift. Your watch tracks your sleep. Your bank app warns you about spending. Responsibility is the new religion. And motorcycles? They're blasphemy. So the hate isn't really about you. It's about the threat you represent to a worldview built on caution. Who hates motorcyclists the loudest? Men between 45 and 60. The exact demographic who once dreamed of a bike but then chose a minivan. Every Harley that passes is not just a motorcycle. It's a mirror. And mirrors are cruel when you've given up. Here's where it gets biological. Mirror neurons fire in your brain when you watch someone do something, almost as if you're doing it yourself. So when that SUV driver sees you lean into a curve, a tiny part of his brain feels the thrill. But because he didn't earn it, because he's stuck in traffic, that pleasure turns to anger. He's not mad at you. He's mad at his own brain for betraying him. Ask any hater why they don't ride. They'll say, I have a family. Too many idiots on the road. I'm not reckless. But these are rationalizations, not reasons. The real reason is fear. And fear, when it's not admitted, becomes poison. That poison needs a target. You're the target. Go into any comment section under a motorcycle video. You'll see Al Capo, organ donor. Loud pipes save lives? No, they annoy. Should be banned. But here's a study from 2021. People who leave angry comments are 3 times more likely to have searched for motorcycle for sale in incognito mode. The data doesn't lie. Let me be fair. Not everyone who dislikes motorcycles is secretly jealous. Some people genuinely hate loud pipes at 2 a.m. Some have lost friends in crashes. That's real pain. But there's a difference between I don't like that and the visceral rage we're talking about. The rage is always a mask. I worked with a client, let's call him Mike, 52, accountant, 2 kids. He hated motorcyclists with a passion, complained about them at every session. One day I asked, Mike, what bike did you want when you were 20? He went silent. Then he cried for 10 minutes. He had almost bought a Ninja 600 in 1992. His father said no. He never forgave himself for obeying. The hate wasn't about bikers. It was about his own cowardice. You'll notice motorcycle hate is overwhelmingly male on male. Women might roll their eyes, but they rarely scream donor from a window. Why? Because for men, a motorcycle represents a specific kind of masculinity. Physical, independent, slightly dangerous. Men who feel emasculated by modern office jobs and suburban safety react with aggression. It's a status threat.
Female motorcyclists get a different kind of hate. Not organ donor, but who's your boyfriend? Or that's cute. The psychology there is also envy, but mixed with sexism. A woman on a bike violates 2 expectations: passive femininity and the male monopoly on risk. That's a double threat, so the hate becomes patronizing, not aggressive. But it's the same mechanism. Here's the fun part. Take the same person who writes crotch rocket idiot on YouTube, put him at a gas station next to a parked motorcycle. He will stare. He might even say, nice bike, quietly. because in person the mask slips. Online anonymity gives permission to express the hate, but in real life the desire leaks out. Watch for it. The most common complaint: your pipes are too loud. Now, some bikes are obnoxiously loud. That's true, but listen closely. The same people who complain about noise also rev their muscle cars or drive diesel trucks with rolling coal. It's not about decibels, it's about whose noise is allowed. Loud pipes on a Harley? Threat. Loud exhaust on a Ford F250? Freedom. That's pure hypocrisy. If motorcyclists were truly the reckless idiots haters claim, insurance rates would be astronomical. But they're not. Yes, crashes happen. But most riders are more skilled and more aware than the average driver. Why? Because you can't scroll Instagram and ride. The hater in his SUV? He's watching TikTok at 70 miles per hour. Who's really the danger? I've seen it dozens of times. The biggest hater finally agrees to sit on a bike. Maybe a friend forces them. And within minutes their face changes. The anger melts into wonder, then shame. Because they realize all those years of hate were just protecting themselves from this feeling, the feeling of being fully alive. That's the real tragedy. Don't argue. Don't try to convince them that riding is safe. That misses the point. Instead, just say, I used to hate riders too, until I tried it. That's the only response that works, because it acknowledges that their hate is just fear, and fear, when named, loses power. You don't need to convert them, just hold up the mirror. Here's the twist. Every rider also has something they secretly envy. Maybe it's someone with a faster bike. Maybe it's someone who travels more. The mechanism is universal. We all hate in others what we fear in ourselves. So next time you feel annoyed by a cager, ask, what is their freedom showing me about my own limits? That's the advanced level. I can't ignore the father factor. So many men who hate riders had fathers who said, never get on one of those death traps. That command became internalized, but the desire never died. So they obey the dead father by hating the living rider. It's a form of loyalty to a parent who is no longer here, and that's heartbreaking, not infuriating. If you want to have fun at a bike night, watch the people who walk past without stopping. They're the ones who glance, then look away too fast. Their shoulders tense, they walk slightly faster. That's not disgust. That's a person fighting their own curiosity. The ones who truly don't care? They don't even notice the bikes. Hatred is attention, negative attention is still attention. From an evolutionary perspective, risk-taking signaled strength. Males who took calculated risks got status and mates, but modern society penalizes risk. So the instinct is still there, but it has nowhere to go. It becomes frustration. Motorcyclists are doing what the hater's genes are screaming for. The hate is evolutionary envy. Your bike is a living fossil of a forgotten instinct. The hate will never disappear. Because the fear will never disappear. Every generation will have people who want to ride but don't, and they will hate those who do. This is not a problem to be solved. It's a fact of human psychology. Your job as a rider is not to eliminate haters. It's to not let their hate become your burden. Ride for yourself. Many riders respond to hate with aggression, rev bombing, middle fingers. That just confirms the hater's story. See, they're all jerks. The smarter response is kindness. When a hater yells at you, smile and wave. That breaks their brain, because they expect anger. When you give calm, they have nowhere to put their emotion. That's psychological judo. Next time you see someone staring at your bike with a scowl, don't look away. Nod. Just a small nod. Acknowledge them. You might see the scowl crack. Not always, but sometimes. And in that crack, you'll see the 16-year-old they buried. That's not hate. That's a ghost. And ghosts can't hurt you unless you believe in them. Let's recap. Reaction formation. Forbidden desire becomes opposite emotion. Mirror neurons, vicarious thrill turns to rage. Midlife crisis displaced. What you didn't do becomes what you hate. Evolutionary mismatch, risk instinct blocked becomes frustration. And finally, unresolved loyalty to fearful parents. That's the full picture. The hater is not your enemy. He is your patient. I have a friend named Dave, 49 years old, 2 kids, hated bikes his whole life. Last year, his son bought a used Ninja. Dave almost disowned him, but then the son said, "Dad, you're scared. That's fine, but don't call me names." That broke Dave. A month later, Dave took the MSF course. He now rides a Vulcan 900, and he apologizes to every rider he ever insulted. Change is possible. Let me flip the script. Are you a rider who secretly envies those with more skill? Those who tour the world while you commute? Hate is not just from cagers, it's inside our community too. Those sport bike kids are reckless. Those cruiser guys are posers. Same mechanism. So before you judge the guy in the SUV, look at how you talk about riders who aren't like you. The ultimate psychological freedom is when you no longer need external validation, when someone yells idiot and you feel nothing. Not anger, not pride, just nothing. Because their opinion is not data about you, it's data about them. That's what motorcycling can teach you. The road doesn't care about your ego, and neither should you. If someone confronts you in person, at a gas station, a parking lot, do not engage. Say, "Have a good day," and leave. Your goal is not to win an argument. Your goal is to stay safe and keep riding. The hater wants a reaction. Don't give it. You have nothing to prove. Your bike already proved it the moment you threw a leg over. I made this video not to make fun of haters, but to free you from needing them to approve. You don't need them to understand. You don't need them to stop yelling. You just need to know their hate is not about you. It's about a life they didn't live. That's sad, but it's not your problem. Your problem is the next curve, and that's a beautiful problem to have. If you want more psychology that explains why people do what they do on 2 wheels or 4, hit subscribe. I post every week. And comment below, what's the worst thing a hater has ever said to you? Or if you used to hate riders, what changed you? I read every comment. Ride safe. And remember, the only opinion that matters is the one in your helmet.